I'm Meredith Guthrie. I work at the Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development, and today I will be presenting the autumn outlook and what you might expect in the months to come. So 2022 so far, so this map on the left is a rainfall to date map from the 1st of January to the 13th of March. And you can see for the Plantagenet Shire, you've had a little bit of rain, about 40 to 45 mils. And the actual Deep Herd weather station, automatic weather station, has received about 49 millimetres, and the Bureau of Met, which is now longer recording, so it's actually closed. So this is getting data from somewhere else, is 32 millimetres. So according to the Bureau of Meteorology website, you can only get data till the end of, it actually closed on the 24th of December last year. This other map over here is a rainfall decile map for the same period of time. So the red bits is decile 1 and the lighter red is decile 2 to 3. The white one is 4 to 7, and there's a spot here, Latham has actually had a little bit of rain, about 68 mils. And that's so dark blue, light blue, so decile 8 to 9. So you can see for the Plantagenet Shire, you've had about average to below average, or what you expect this. If you look at these records, go back to 1975 to last year, 2021. So sort of you're sitting about average. In terms of soil water, now this is a soil water map from an average of 10 soil types, and it uses a model called the Ritchie model, which is looking at bare soil. So according to this model, you are sitting at about 30 mils there of stored soil moisture, but you can see for most of the Southwest Land Division, they haven't had much stored soil moisture because they haven't had much rain. So this plant's available soil water goes all the way back to November. So it calculates stored soil moisture from November of the previous year. This is a map of average rainfall you expect in autumn. So what we expect in autumn based on 1975 to 2020. And you can, for Mount Barker, the average is about 156 millimetres. That's what you expect in March, April, May. Now, last year was a little bit significantly wetter than that. So from the Deep Herd automatic weather station, you received 285 millimetres, and from the Bureau of Met was 315. Now that was when the Bureau of Met weather station was operating, and they're about 11 kilometres apart in distance, so that's why there's a bit of a variation there. So this is what you get to expect. So last year was quite wetter than normal, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is Deep Herd's statistical seasonal forecast, which is a statistical model looking at past years and how it correlates to mean sea surface temperatures and mean sea level pressure. So it's run every month using data from the previous month. So this forecast is using data up till February, and the data comes from America. So we get data from America, global data from America, and we have to wait till that data is available so we can run the model for the next 3 months. So this is a probability of above median rainfall. So what that means is it gives a percentage. So here for Plantagenet, it's saying you have between 40 to 60% chance of getting above median rainfall. Basically, it's saying it's neutral and you've got about a 50% chance of getting above median rain and 50% chance of getting below median rain for Plantagenet, and for the other areas of the grain belt it's actually below that. Now skill, this is a skill map, so percentage consistent, how right has this model been in the past for this amount of time, and it's not very good skill. So you'd really want between 70 to 75% to actually have more faith in the model. So the skill is quite poor, and it's because it's autumn is actually the predictability barrier for forecasting ENSO. So ENSO is the El Nino, La Nina, and Southern Oscillation Index. So because that sort of is actually La Nina at the moment, but because autumn is when it changes, the models are at the lowest score. So that's why most models have low skill at this time of the year. Anyway, so what that means for Mount Barker is this. So this is the most probable decile range. So the SCF also gives you what that means. So when I say neutral, it actually means average. So the SCF is saying you have an average outlook for autumn. And then again, you can actually go a bit lower and drill down to the actual Mount Barker, and it will give you a little box plot like this. So this is saying what you normally get, and this is what the forecast is saying. So there's a big variation in the forecast, but it's mostly sitting around average. And also it can talk about display as a graph. You've got where how much rain you think it's going to get for March to May. So it's saying that's what you normally get, and it's forecast about that. Okay, so this is the Bureau of Meteorology Autumn Outlook. This outlook was from the 3rd of March. The Bureau of Meteorology actually update their dynamical models. This is a dynamical forecast, which means they need a massive, great big supercomputer to create these maps. And this was run at the end of February, and it was issued on the 3rd of March. So it's sort of saying neutral to below, and this is the skill map for that time, and not very good skill. And again, because we're in the predictability barrier, because we're not sure what's happening in the Pacific Ocean, so the models have less skill at this time of the year. Now you can drill down again. So this is for Mount Barker, and this is obviously, this model has been updated since you can't actually get March to May outlook from the Bureau of Met website anymore. But this is what they were saying. So that was pretty much sitting on the fence here. Chance of being above median was 50%. So very similar to what the SCF was saying, neutral. In terms of other models, so this is one called Climate Copernicus, and it looks at lots of models, and that all combines them. So these models, when they combine them, are giving a wetter outlook for the southwest for March, and this is a Korean model, and it's also giving a wetter outlook for March. I also look at some other models, and I put together a little graph of what they're saying, and this graph has come from a newsletter called the Seasonal Climate Outlook, which is available on this website here, Agric, the old department, the old DAFWA website that we're still using. So you can see that most of the models are between neutral and above for the next 3 months, so that's March to May, and this is SCF over here. I was saying neutral to below. So you can sort of say you have a bit of faith that the next 3 months are going to be wetter to neutral. None of them are saying a below. If we look further ahead, this is the Bureau of Met. They've only just released this one, this date. So it was run on the 7th of March and issued on the 10th. And so they're saying for April to June is going to be neutral to below. And the school's a little bit better. And then if we go forward to May to July, so they just released this on the 10th of March. You can see that they're saying it's neutral to below. So it's a dry outlook than the one they had for autumn. So obviously keep checking the Bureau of Meteorology website because they do update these twice a week, whereas the SSF has to be run once a month because that's when we get our data from. This is a Korean model I'll show you before. So this is for June to August, and it's sort of neutral to below. So that's sort of what the models are sort of saying. So it's neutral to wetter for winter. Okay, so that's what they're sort of saying. They're not too sure, but remember to check the Bureau of Met website because they do update theirs. Just remember they can get it wrong though. So it's best to look at more than one model. But okay, so future. I'll talk a little bit about future projections, so into the many years ahead. So all these future projections came from a website called the Climate Services for Agriculture website, which you can go and have a look at. So this is looking at current rainfall. So Mount Barker on average between this time period has had about 465 mils. Last year obviously was very, very wet, and you probably don't want another wet year like that because it was absolutely too wet. So the DPERD automatic weather station recorded 808 millimetres of rain, and the Bureau for Mount Barker was 692. There's a huge bit of variation there. So that's what you normally get in your growing season. And this is a future projection. So this is in the year 2050 under medium greenhouse gas emissions. This is a mean of 8 models. So you can see there's a bit more red happening on the map, and the blue has disappeared from down here. So Mount Barker is projected to have about 461 millimetres of rain under medium greenhouse gas emissions. Now under high greenhouse gas emissions, so that means that there's no policy change and we just continue on producing lots and lots of greenhouse gas. So it's sort of the worst case scenario, I guess, if nothing happens. So there's a lot of red on the map now, and Mount Barker is reduced by 382 millimetres of rain, and now we're getting the dark blues disappeared from the map, and we're not getting any locations above 800 millimetres of rain. So like I said before, this is the worst case scenario really. For November to March, and I looked at Tenterton here, this is what we've currently got in terms of out of season rain. So we've got quite a bit more rain out here and along the coast. And this is a future projection, so it's very similar to what we have at the moment. So it's not getting any wetter, but it's not getting any drier under medium greenhouse gas emissions. And then if we look at high emissions, it is a little bit drier. We've got areas up here less than 50 millimetres of rain, and it's sort of a little bit dry here as well. In terms of heat, so this is number of days above 32 degrees that we have currently. Obviously, high temperatures between August and November are going to affect your yield potential because high temperatures damage the pollen and the grain size, weight. So it's going to affect high temperatures. Obviously, a major cause of concern in the northern grain belt, not so much down where you guys are. But if we look at future projections, it's going to get hotter in the north. But I don't think it's going to be a problem really in the south. So if we look at other reports, this is the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and this is their 6th assessment report that's only just recently come out. And they're also saying that even under low greenhouse gas emissions, we're still going to have a change in our temperature and a change in our rainfall. And this slide is from the Bureau of Meteorology State of Climate Report. So it's a very nice summary slide. And they're saying that even under future, you're going to have global temperatures going to rise, sea levels going to rise, marine heat waves are going to rise, warmer with more heat waves, land heat waves, and marine heat waves. We are going to get fewer tropical cyclones. Now, we've already had this season. Broome had a lot of rain in February, and that was from an intense storm. We've only had 2 tropical cyclones this season. We've had Tiffany last year and Annika. So we're actually seeing a reduction in tropical cyclones at the moment. In the future, we're going to see a growing season decline, and so the crops have spending more time under water stress, therefore reducing yield. Heavy rainfall is going to become more intense, and Mount Walker had 50 millimetres of rain in the 12th of February. That was from a trough. That was a very localised trough. And unfortunately, we're going to see longer fire season with more dangerous fire weather, and we've already seen that in Narrogin and Corrigin. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.